Hi, welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. Well, this little video is an indoor enforced at home video because it looks like we're going to have to wait until tomorrow to get some tires fitted on the truck. So we're not going to risk going down there on that rough road again until we have to, and that will be early in the morning. Well, so what do I want to talk about in this one? I try actually to be very calm about comments that are made, and gotta admit, it's not always easy to be calm and patient about things which keep cropping up. They keep cropping up, and they're constantly explained by me in the videos that we make, and we make a point of trying to make it so that it's understandable as to how we do things, but it doesn't always work. Now, one of those subjects is the houses that we build. Now, let me put as a basic idea, a basic concept for the houses that we build. We try to keep the cost as low as possible. Why do we do that? Well, we think that if we can keep the cost to half of what we could spend, then we'll be able to build two houses, won't we, for the same money. So 2 sevens, 14, if it's 70,000 pesos for one house, and we could easily spend 150 on doing any one of these houses if we chose to make the design and the spec sufficient to use that money. Oh boy, it would be so easy. Now, so why do we do that? Well, we do it because we're trying to, at a real grassroots level, house another family. And if you really look carefully at some of the houses that we show, these are the houses that you're going to see rebuilt. These are the houses that are going to be replaced. So we show you a house as it stands, as the family are living with it in it at the present moment, and that's when we show, and that's what we use to stir the hearts of those people who can afford it to help us to build a new house. Now, when you donate a gift, I shouldn't say that donation word, the D word, when you send us a gift, and let's say that we're looking for 70,000 to build a house, and you send 30,000. How much of that gets used on the house? Well, let me see, 30,000. That's how much it costs for us to do what we do, except with the exception of a few hundred pesos, which comes out for putting money into the bank so that we don't have sums of money here at our house. We never have any money here at the house. Don't have a lot of money in the pocket. And when we've got a house to do, we go and we draw out the money. Now, here in the Philippines, the banks all use a fee. They charge you a fee for drawing money out. Anybody will tell you that has been here, certainly in Taliban, to draw out, you can only draw up to 10,000 pesos. And for that, they charge you 250 pesos. So work that out, what that costs on a 70,000, or let's make yes, 70,000 peso house. We'll have made 7 withdrawals, and each withdrawal will have cost us 250 pesos. You do the math. Now, let's look at some of the other comments and try to understand that what I'm trying to do here is explain to you the way that we work and what the logistics are. Now, the biggest question that we get asked is, how much? How much does a house like this? That's the usual question. How much does a house like this cost to build? Well, where is this house that you're going to build? Are you going to build in the centre of Cebu? You're going to build in the centre of London? Are you going... It matters where the house is. Now, does it matter because we're buying a piece of land? No, because the land that we build on is always the future homeowners' land to build on. Either that or they have permission to do that. They may be living on the land that is owned by a cousin, an aunt, a parent, as you will have seen on very recent videos. So we're not looking at buying land, but we are looking at getting the permission, and we are looking at the position, at the location of the house. Now, if it's located 2 miles from the road where we have to, the road that we have to use to get materials there, it's going to be a killer on our workforce. We get as close as we can using usually our poor little Red, who gets thrashed every time it goes out. Well, we get the materials as close as we can. We try to persuade people to get our materials as close as they can when we buy the materials wherever we buy them. So we do our best on that, but that falls under logistics, how difficult it is to get materials to the house so that they can build. Our Superman team can build a house. That's the one thing there. Now, look at the specification. Bowling alley? No. Swimming pool? No. Gymnasium, fitness room? No. Ensuite luxury bathroom? No. Bathroom? No. Kitchen? Yes. Is it the kitchen that you are probably even looking at on your computer right now? Is it the same kitchen? Does it have a piece of stainless steel in there? No, it doesn't, unless it's a stainless steel, I don't know, nail. It is an open fire cooking kitchen. And that's what people do here. My mother-in-law, Nanai, actually cooks on an open fire right now. She does have a 2-ring burner cooker that has been given to her, but in the main she uses that just occasionally or in conjunction with the open fire. What's an open fire cooking facility? It's like a box that measures about 2 feet by 3 feet or 4 feet, and it has those clay pots on there which you balance your cooking pots on, and underneath of those clay pots you stick pieces of wood which you set on fire. That's cooking as it is in Nanai's kitchen, and I will have shown those videos before on other occasions. So we're looking at basic traditional building and design of the houses. Now, when we did a house for the blind man, all that he had was something like a 6x6 shed, something that would have been trashed if anybody suggested that anybody in the West should use it to keep their tools in. Certainly not. My tools are worth more than that. And it would never have made the grade as a dilapidated garbage dump. And we made a house for him that had something like, I think it was 8x8. It was 8x8, just enough to get a double bed in, which he uses during the day as a day bed. He uses it as his furniture. That's his furniture. He came from a piece of trash, okay, so he looks upon that as his palace, and it is a palace compared to what he lived in before. And that's the case for a lot of the people that we help. They're coming from something which is so wretched and pathetic that they're delighted with a clean, safe, dry house. And that's what we give them. Has it got tinted glass at the windows? No. Well, no, it hasn't, because they don't have windows. They have panels which are on a special little ingenious made hinge, which is made up of 2 4-inch nails, and the panel switches out in this way. The inch nail is there. So instead of the window opening like that, it opens like that. It's very effective, and it doesn't have glass in the window, it's a panel. Now, in the West, light into the house is everything. Here, the heat is relentless, and the last thing that a Filipino family want at this level of society, and I'm not being condescending there because I love the people that I work with, and I love the Philippines, and if you're thinking that I'm slagging off Philippines or Filipinos, you're on the wrong channel. Now, they don't go in for a ton of windows. When Lena had her house, she was in on, well, yes, I want the window here, I want the window there. They have one window in each room, and one window plus a door into their living room. And there are no windows in her kitchen. So the window thing is a totally different mindset here for the Philippines. So if you're thinking that by not putting any windows in, we're working against the desires of the people that we're rehousing, sorry, you're not working on the same reality that we are. That's a fact. So, traditional build, land ownership. A lot of people come in and lots of criticisms of house number 30, and I think it was house 25, the house of the unfaithful husband. So, the house of the unfaithful husband, and this house that we're building now, which is house number 30. And they're built right on the very edge of a high tide. Now, we know how high a high tide is. I had one abnormal just recently, and we had a lot of, not complaints, a lot of comments saying, not a very good place to build a house. They could have found, you could have found a better place than that. Well, when the tide comes in, when there's a typhoon, when, I don't know, when it's Wednesday, when you haven't been out for a coffee at Starbucks for a little while, it's a different world, and we don't know everything, but we know the world that we live in, and we know the plight of the people that we help. And for the most part, 95% of those who try to help understand this, and they say, do what you think is right. They may say, I want this to go to house number, but that's it. They don't tell us how to do the job. And you know something? I don't tell the Superman team how to do it. I go in there and I'll talk to Timio, but I'll talk to him as an equal, not as some kind of self-appointed supervisor or even a supervisor. But I will go in there and I will make some suggestions. And if he says, I don't think that's a good idea, and he tells me why, and it's not a good idea, then it doesn't get done. If Beth goes in there and says, I think this is how we should do it, she gets her say. She gets her say as far as I'm concerned, and certainly as far as her brother is concerned, which is quite difficult because here we're in very much a patriarchal society, even though the matriarchs actually run the thing. So I know that it sounds like a contradiction, but it is true. Men think that they're in charge, but of course we're not. Not really. You see, so we're looking at that whole thing of, is this the right place to build something? Is this the place that you have? That's the question. The question that we ask is, where can we build? We're talking now to, I don't know, Mrs. Gomez or we're talking to the lady, we're talking to the family. Where can we build you a house? And in some cases, we've actually started building the house halfway down the old house. We've knocked enough of the old house down to be able to build the new house. And then when the half of the new house is built, we'll knock the other half down. Or, as in the case of a church in, in Tulang, the church in Tulang of the born-again Christian, born-again gospel church, they built a church around the old church. The old church is still in there. That's another project. So they go from the outside, the big church, through the door, and then through the door of the small church. And that's where they hold everything right now, and that's where they will continue to hold it until they get enough money to be able to knock the inside one down and make everything good. That's the way that they work here. And building a new house around an old one is a familiar thing. Our design, as I said, with the blind man, so I'm going over stuff again. With the blind man, we I just got a visitor now, and I've got my pad with my notes on, and look what we're looking at here. Puss, why did you decide to come and visit now? What is it? Huh? Are you okay? Look. See, she's on my notes. There's my notes underneath. And there's our lovely pussycat. Oh, you just come to have a little pet, is that it? Well, what am I doing here? I'm forgetting what I'm supposed to be doing. So, our design, when we did the blind man's house, we did this tiny 8x8 box, which he does everything in, but then we extended the roof under 12 feet roof panels, and we extended it right out. Bye, honey. She's gone. And we extended that out to include a little tiny extension for his kitchen, an open fire kitchen, and a seated area. And the design proved, which was reached spontaneously by Pastor Timio and Perry and Julio and our youngest member, who is Ballantoy, and they kind of just made this design up. So we did that design virtually again for the Terrible House, the Terrible Man, as Beth started calling him, and we've done that now a couple of times. In effect, we did it for Sarah's house, but in Sarah's house we also extended it the other way, and we put a tiny sari store on it too. Brings us finally to the last part of what we do, and that is the budget. Now, it was my hope that at some point we might be able to inspire a family to take us on. Now, we've actually done that in two cases. We did it with M&M. M&M, that's the code name for an incredible couple in California, and I said, do you want to be anonymous? And they said, we'd like to be known as M&M. And here's how that happened. M, or was it M? Not sure. M said, how much would it be for the whole of the replacement for the leaning house? Because the family somehow touched her, and she said, how would we do that? What would it cost? We did a quick cost up, and we said, I'm going off memory now, I think we said something like $1,200. And she said, my husband's having a nap right now. This is absolutely true. It says, my husband's having, this is in chat, so everything's being written. But I'm going to ask him if we could do the whole the whole house. And then in the next paragraph, obviously time is not in on a text. She'd had a moment, the husband had had his moment of having a nap, and she got back and she said, we're in. I just told him, he loves the idea, and we're in. And so M&M sent the entire money to be able to make the leaning house, and that's what we did. And that has been a dream of mine, that there would be a family there who have a grown-up group of children, 2 or 3 children, who are all working and doing their own thing, who might be able to join together as a family and rehouse one family. So it would be wonderful. One family rehousing another family that they've never met, will never meet, will never be known for their generosity other than some name like M&M. All that the Leaning House know is that a couple who are called M&M made their life change incredibly. So that is the dream that I have now. It didn't work out because of a family squabble, but the karate family actually came in on that level and wanted and would have done that had we continued, but it didn't work out that way. But that family, united as a family, wanted to be called the karate family, and they sent the money. And that was almost my dream met again. But at some point I would like to think that a family would get together and say that, well, we could have our house, that could be our project. And I thought that would, in my naivety, as somebody recently said that I was naive. Yes, maybe I am. But that would be my dream, was that a family in another country could just get together and not put a huge amount of money together, but would be able to fund the whole house, and it would be their house. So at some point, a family like, well, M&M have the Leaning House, but it's M&M's house. And when that couple, M&M, when they come to visit, as we really hope that they will, because we right now and are in touch, when they come to visit, well, they'll get to see their house, which I think would be rather cool. So that gives you an idea on budget. We're not able to do the swimming pool. I'm being facetious now, okay, let's keep it light. We can't do the swimming pool, the bowling alley is on hold, and the gym and the fitness room might have to come later. But right now we build a traditional Filipino house with the minimum amount of windows to be made as cool as possible, with an open fire cooking kitchen. Nothing fancy. There's no CR. They've obviously had a CR of some kind, and so it's not in the budget. People ask us for this and ask us for that, and if it's not in the budget, then it's not. Very often, too many times now, we've actually started we've started a project with not enough budget, and we call that a leap of faith. We take a leap of faith because we have confidence in the fact that we're not anything like a leading channel. But wow, I would hazard a guess and say no other channel out there has the following that we have for support. That when we try to do something to help someone, there's always someone that will come forward and help us to help that family. those are the heroes, and we always say this. We're just sort of running around, you know, doing a little bit here and a little bit there. We do our best, you know, but sometimes we're wrong, sometimes we're right, sometimes we're on time, sometimes we're not, but we're not the heroes. People who give their hard-earned money are the heroes, and we have a responsibility to do the very best we can in spending that money on any given project. And the choice that we give people is, if you want to be on project A or project B or project C or whatever project, and you say, that's the project that I like, that's the, I don't know, that's the little girl that I like, that I want to send a dress to. Don't forget, things that we've done have all been initiated by our incredible, sorry to use my overused word of incredible again, but our incredible subscribers. Someone started off by saying, I'm sending $50 and I want you to take those 3 little girls out and buy them new dresses. And we ended up, at one point we took over 20 out there, and then at another, I think we took, I think it was 43 kids out to Altura's shop, the, not a supermarket, the store, and we got them all a dress or a t-shirt and shorts for the boys. And that has been done by you. Somebody else, Tita, we have an just wonderful lady who is actually not in the greatest of health herself. So this is not someone who sits back in luxury and, I don't know, sipping pina colada and sends money that she can easily afford. I don't think that that's the case. But she gets ideas, and she sent recently to buy, please, buy 2 piglets, and those piglets, I'll feed them, and I want them to be used when you have a celebration for the children at church, so they can have lechon and be fed well. Wonderful lady. And then we have other people. We have Patch, and I'm not leaving anybody out here. It's just that with my I'm trying to brush a few of the cobwebs away from my aged mechanism, which I call a brain, and remember what I can. But Patch, every month he sends money, and his instructions are vitamins for baby Jane, and he honours that every month. And then there are other people who are supporting 10, 15 children just for 400 pesos a month, which allows a kid who's coming from a dirt floor Nipa hut to have a dish, something other than just rice, when he goes to school. So just so many things happen. And I wanted just to talk about, mainly about the houses and the design and the budget and how we decide and all of those things. I hope it makes it clearer that quality is, if it's built properly and well. It's not going to be as in the West, okay? It just isn't. It can't be. Not for the money that we are using, not for the money which we are empowered to spend. It can't be like that. Sarah's house, for instance, it has a door to the main part of the house, but the back door is a lower than normal window panel, and that is, should heaven forbid that there should have to be an exit because of a fire or something, that would be the exit for going out. So we do what we can with what we have. This is a foreigner in the Philippines. This has been a long one, I know. Hope you're still here. And if you're not, well, I'm not talking to you, am I? Thanks for logging in, and bye for now.